All right, we're here at my VermiHut indoor worm bin, and the last time we were in here, we did our raw versus frozen experiment, and we had a great time lapse going to see what they ate. We also rotated the trays, and this is a brand new top feeding tray that we had just fed, and it was actually mounted all the way to the top here, and I don't know if you can see, but there is a clear indentation right where we fed, so chances are they have eaten most of our food. So let's go ahead and get this newspaper off, and you can see they've eaten a few holes in it, and then we're going to go ahead and explore what we fed them last time. And as I look where that food was, there are just a lot of castings that they laid right away. I really love how these inoculating trays work, where they sit underneath all the other trays for 120 days or so, and when they are brought up here, they are primed and ready to go. So last time we fed them, we gave them a piece of banana, some broccoli, some pineapples and tomatoes, along with a cauliflower stalk, some watermelon, and a frozen lettuce stalk. We also put in the stuff from the previous top feeding tray, and in that was that raw lettuce stalk that looked like it was not getting eaten at all. So we're going to go ahead and check on that as well. So let's jump right in and see how they did with that last feeding. And right away, I am seeing a lot of orange butts, and that means that there's a lot of red wigglers in here. And sure enough, check that out. Just a ton of worms. Really liking this. Now this bin has both red wigglers and blue worms, and it was started over 2.5 years ago. And I will say there is still a really good mix of both in here. Some people say that the blue worms take over, but that's just not been the case for me. And here it looks like just a little piece of tomato. We've got a lot of cherry tomatoes that we put in here and all kinds of seeds going too. So we'll see if those sprout a little bit later. But I am not seeing any of the food in that first handful. And here is just little pieces of some avocado shells, but certainly a lot of worms still going in and out of that feeding zone. Let's kind of grab another handful from the side there, and we've got something right here. Okay, this is what is left of the onion that we gave here, and it's just kind of the tough skin. So they ate everything else of that onion, and there are no smells here. In a good healthy worm bin with lots of microbes and lots of worms, you're not going to smell any foul odors from what they've been eating. And it's also important to make sure that you don't overfeed. That's another thing that can cause foul odors, but they are doing just a great job in here. One more handful over on this side, and yep, they ate the whole feeding zone, and it has been 14 days since we were in here, so they've had ample time. Now, when we brought this tray up here, there were some worms in it, but most of the worms have come up from the tray that was the old top feeding tray and is now the pre-harvest tray. I am feeling some of the old food we had in here, and here's that mango seed. That last time was full of worms, and this time it is as well. Let's go ahead and try and open it, and I'm just going to go this far because they are really munching down on that seed leaf in there, or the cotyledon. So it's taken them a while to get to it, and I think they also like to hide in there. That is always pretty cool when I see that. Wow, here is a corn husk from a long time ago. Hey, I think they might have eaten it. I think they might have gotten through that last piece of raw lettuce. That is fantastic. Maybe burying it under here was what it needed to get consumed. So fantastic. This right here, I think, is a grape stem. This is one of the longest foods that you'll find in a worm bin. It's almost like having a piece of wood in your worm bin. All right, so things are looking great. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to just kind of dig around the whole area here, and that is going to help aerate, and I'm going to take a look at how the rest of it is doing. So quick observation here, when I am pulling from the sides, I'm feeling still some of the inoculating cardboard in here, and there are some castings, but not a whole lot. But where there was the food scraps, a lot of castings mixed in with the cardboard. So just kind of a different texture to the bedding that's in here. All right, so I've mixed everything up. We've got kind of our trough right here. And the first thing I'm going to do is put this mango seed right underneath it right there and some of our other stuff. But today we have got a really interesting worm chow that we're going to try. I got a great idea from Dirty Joe. He was grinding up his cereal. So I have some unique cereal that I want to try as worm chow. But first, we're going to go ahead and add some more shredded cardboard in here. And I like to put it in dry because I'm going to put all kinds of wet foods in here. And it's important that every time you feed, you also add some bedding for them. And they eat both the bedding and the food. So here's what we had in mind to feed them. This was a strawberry container. And you can see right there, I think there was about 6 strawberries that went bad and got mold on them. So I've just added some food scraps to it as we create them, and this all resides in my freezer. So let's go ahead and put this in. So we've got our usual lettuce stalks right there, and then we've got some tomatoes and broccoli and some banana peels and a little bit of carrots and a little piece of onion, but there we go, right there. Look at all those strawberries that went to waste. That drives me nuts, but at the same time, I'm happy that they're going to my worms. So let's go ahead and set it up for them. They're gonna plow through these strawberries really quick, and some of the mold there too. I don't know if this mold is gonna survive and grow in the bin because this has all been frozen, but we'll see how that does. Got some broccoli, which tends to be fast food. They'll eat the center of this pretty quick, and then maybe this outside will be there. And then we've got a banana peel, which, you know, as you look at a banana peel, we think we've eaten all the banana out of it, but there is some soft stuff right here that the worms absolutely shred off, and then this part of the peel kind of stays for a while. And then carrots I found to be pretty quick foods for them. I'm not sure if that's the sugar content or what, but really good assortment right here. So let's get on with our fun amendments. So normally I'll put coffee in, but we're going to go ahead and skip that amendment today, and you'll see why. But first I'm going to add some of this eggshell grit. It's just pulverized eggshells that I add in here. Get some nutrients into my garden and to help the worms because they have gizzards and they can use it to make their food that they eat smaller. But here's what I'm really excited about. This right here is my normal worm chow, which is just some expired grains from my pantry like flour, sugar, pulverized oats. And over here is some colorful cereal that we're going to try in here. So this is what it started as, and this is what happened after I used my magic bullet blender to shred it up. So let's go ahead and put a little bit of the regular worm chow right here. And then we'll put our colorful worm chow made out of cereal. Thank you, Dirty Joe, for mentioning this. There's our colorful stuff. And then just to try and compare how things go, we're going to put the actual cereal that we grinded up right there. So this should be pretty fun to see how they do with it. I'm not sure how much we'll be able to tell whether they liked it or not. But certainly if it's gone and not matted down, we'll know that they gave it a thumbs up. But this over here, I'll be real interested to see what this ends up like. So next thing we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and bury this. Again, I've got a pretty high mound. You'll find that as you have fresh bedding in here, the volume of it is a lot higher than when they eat it down into castings. So it always seems like the beginning couple weeks of my tray that it is really high, and I have a little bit of trouble, you know, covering up the mound here of food that I've created, but that is no problem. You can even, if it's too high for your lid, you can kind of push your lid down and maybe even clamp it, but I don't think we'll have to do that here. And then I'm going to go ahead and add this napkin on top. When I thaw out my food, sometimes it leaks through, especially when you're using a strawberry container like this that has holes in it and stuff like that. So we're just going to put this on top as bedding, and then we're going to go ahead and put our newspaper right over top there. And see, that little worm was snug as a bug in a rug. Had no problem if any of you saw me kind of pull it out at the beginning of the video. So there we go. We've got that all set up right there, and we are ready to call it a feeding. So I hope you're all having a great day. I hope your worm bins are doing fantastic. So happy vermicomposting, everybody. Take care now.